We're back on our Skraffino panel. If you remember, what we did is we sanded it, we vacuumed it up, and what we did is we applied a coat, a prime coat of CP1000 diluted at 1 part water to 1 part CP1000. It's been drying now for 2 to 3 hours, and we're about to apply our second coat. The coat that we're applying is Skraffino White Fine, but we're going to show you how to tint it using a product that's called ColorFast. ColorFast comes in 24 colors. If you look at the color chart, that's based on a 1 cup tint load. For today's demonstration, we're simply going to put a half a cup. We don't want to go quite that dark, so we're just going to put a half a cup. So the way that this works is we have our measure bucket, 4.6 liters cut out. Remember, for speed, we fill our garbage can with the CP1000, pre-mix it, and then you can just submerge your bucket right into here, put it on your shelf. That way you're not sitting here weighing each liter. So you're going to start with always putting the liquid into the bucket. Never start with the powder first in the bucket. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our ColorFast. This color is charcoal suede, which is kind of a dark brown black. And we're going to put it into the CP1000. And then we're going to start mixing that for about 30 seconds to 1 minute. And then when Brian's mixing that, I'm going to get our Skraffino White Fine ready. Remember, turn it over, roll it, so when we go to dump it, it just doesn't fall out in a big clump. So here we go. Okay, you can start mixing that. Okay, so it's all good and mixed up, so we're going to take a short break. We're going to put our dust masks on, and then we'll start mixing. We've just mixed our Skraffino White Fine that we tinted with ColorFast, charcoal suede color. Now it's time to apply it. We demonstrated on our first coat of Skraffino, there's several ways that you can actually apply the material. One is with the magic trowel. If you're going for more of a monochromatic, meaning one solid color look, this is the way to go. But if you're trying to create interest into your floor where it looks organic and it has some texture to it, go ahead and use the trowels. And I'll just show you some basic texturing techniques. Keep in mind, we're going to, at a later date, we're going to come back and acid stain over the top of this. But the fact that we've tinted this material could be your finished floor. Put a clear coat over the top and you've got a really dynamite looking floor. So not all the time is it necessary to add additional topical colors like stains or dyes. All right, so let's dump some right here. That's good. Now, just as a reminder, remember we on our first coat, we had Brian brushing if this was an exterior application. Certainly you can see the different color, so you would want to follow suit and just have somebody brushing the sides. If this was the joint, like on a driveway, you would treat it the same way with a paintbrush. Go ahead and let the material flow in there and then just brush it back out. All right, here we go. Let's put our Skraffino Fine down. All right, the nice thing about Skraffino, if you choose to, you can come back and create texture, and I'll show you what I mean. Sometimes you might get a little bit of a streak. You just go ahead and crush it like that. So what I mean by create texture, a lot of times we'll actually come back here like so, and just take your trowel and then lightly knock it down, just ever so slightly. And what happens is the low areas that you see there will take the stain a much different color. So it's just a nice way to add some interest to your floor here, just by creating texture like that. Also, by running your trowel flat, as opposed to caulking it like that, works nice. All right, I'll take a little over there. Okay. Skraffino is an excellent product to be used in an exterior environment as well. So typically on most exterior concrete surfaces, they've used a broom finish like you see right here. And at a bare minimum, what you'd want to do is use a high pressure water blaster or pressure washer. Also, you can use a swing buffing machine with some sanding screens, anything to just lightly take off that surface. And then you'd want to pressure wash the dust, assuming you sanded it. Now, especially important is once you've opened that surface up, is you need to prime twice with CP1000. So the logic is you do all of your prep one day and then go ahead and apply your CP1000 bonding primer, come back the following day or 10 hours later, plus or minus 8 to 10 hours later, and then you come back, prime again and let that dry. When it's tack-free, when you don't see any moist spots, you're ready to go on it with your Skraffino. Now what we're going to demonstrate on this panel is a stenciling technique using a paper stencil. So there's a multitude of different patterns from kind of like a random cobblestone. There's a rock pattern, there's stone, brick, just a wide variety of different patterns. And what we're going to do here is we're changing our background color. So here's our concrete gray, where I'm kneeling on right here. And keeping in mind, what we're trying to do now is achieve our grout joint color. So you can see what we've done is we've taken Skraffino gray regular, and we've tinted it with charcoal suede color fast, okay, the coloring system. So it's a really nice dark background, and the logic is this: once that's dry, we then put the stencil over where we've just skim coated. We come with a different color, and we're going to pneumatically spray it with a hopper gun over the top of the stencil, which we'll demonstrate in just a minute. And then once that's dry, you remove the stencil, and all you see on the background color is the grout joints where the stencil is protecting. So it's a very popular finish, and it's a pretty economical way to give your old worn-out exterior concrete a facelift. So we're going to finish putting the rest of our Skraffino gray regular that's been tinted, and then probably 2 hours later we'll go ahead and start with our stencil application. Just dump me some right there. Yep. All right, a little more. Yep. We talked about all of the texturing options when using the Skraffino flooring system. Here is a popular one that's used primarily exterior on pool decks, driveways, sidewalks, but it can be used interior as well, and that's with the use of a paper stencil. So we have our base coat of Skraffino down that we tinted with the charcoal suede, and remember that color is going to be the grout joint color. So now it's dry. 2 hours later we're coming back and we're going to apply this paper stencil. So when Brian grabs it, it's important that you go way to the outer edges. Notice how he's holding it, and then we're just going to roll it off the stencil. Now look, it's really important at the edge of your work that you go an additional minimum 6-8 inches, because we're going to be spraying the cement or the Skraffino over the top of it, and if you don't have little ears going further than the outline of your work, you could lose the stencil. So you need to have little tabs to be able to pull it up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut this off right there, making sure. Yeah. Okay, that should lay flat. That's good. And then now we're going to just do it again, and we're going to lock it in like a jigsaw puzzle. So we have to find the, so you're going to go further, Brian. Keep going. Keep going. You unfortunately sometimes do waste a lot, but you've got to lock it in right there, right. There we go. Okay, one more row. Okay, you got to go all the way your way. Keep going. There we go. Right. All right. Pretty quick, as you can see. Now you'll notice there are some areas that are not laying flat out there. So a roll of stencil typically comes with little packages of putty. So you can, like where it's raised right here, for example, you can just get like the size of a grain of rice, put a piece of putty up under here and just stick it down. Now they do make adhesive versions of this. So in other words, on the back there's a light tack to it, which works great, but you have to be careful. I've seen in really hot, warm conditions, the adhesive actually can transfer sometimes to the substrate. So we're primarily using the non-adhesive like you see here. So what we're going to do is we're going to tack a few down, just tape a few together with the, just the seams right here. Go ahead and we'll just tape the seams just to hold them in place. And then what we'll do is we'll take a couple pieces of putty and just tack this down. And we're ready to apply our tinted Skraffino regular.